It's the 38th Songwriters Festival 2025. Jessie Scott for WMOT as we are hanging out in a beautiful house down by the beach with Willi Carlisle. How are you?
Doing pretty good, feeling good today.
So good to see you.
Nice to be anywhere.
Always.
Yeah.
You know? And especially here. It's nice to be here. Nice to be among kindred spirits.
Yeah.
And I like your button. Y'all means all. All y'all.
Right, yeah.
I like how you're dressed, too.
Thank you. My favorite weird Southern contraction was I knew somebody that would say, y'all all. Like, you all will. Y'all all.
Oof.
It was a nice
That's a lot of L's.
Yeah.
So what's new? What's up?
Well, it is January now, and I made a record in December.
Yes.
And it'll come out in June, and I'm really excited about it. I got to self-produce for the first time, and I didn't really realize that I always was so chatty and opinionated in the studio that I was already about halfway doing that. If that makes any, I just sort of deferred the final judgment to an expert. So it was scary to have the final judgment in my hands about sounds, but it was really fun. There's some polka music on it, which I've always wanted to do. It's talky, chatty, weird. And now the year is in full swing. I took a little bit of time off, and boy, is it over. And boy, am I out of shape. Yeah, I'm basically made of sugar plums right now.
Well, it's interesting that like this sort of kicks off the year and that people have been on hiatus since Thanksgiving kind of.
Right, yeah.
So nobody's got their sea legs under them yet.
Especially at a songwriter festival. I listened to one of my favorite songwriters in the world, and I won't out him now, but like forget some lyrics last night, and I was like, oh, thank God. Just because he's so good that nobody in the audience faulted him. Everybody was there with him. In fact, people were able to cue him. But like to do this at the first of the year amongst people that have to memorize a lot of words is... It's an interesting strategy.
It's humbling.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah.
You bring a lot of instruments on the road with you. How hard is it to travel with everything?
It's a huge pain in the butt, but I guess I have this little concertina that fits in a backpack that's really nice. I kind of started to like hauling things around in Europe especially, but just because it meant that I couldn't always do everything that I wanted, I kind of had to pick and choose, and it made my choices a little more intentional. As I used to do the backpacking thing and the living in the van thing, it was always like you could have a limited number of instruments, or you were literally, sleeping next to a guitar as your bedmate, which is unpleasant, to say the least. And so, yeah, I like to be as maximal as space will allow, I guess. Yeah.
How do you pick the instrument for a particular song? Does it just speak to you?
That's a great question. I like to play it on everything and just kind of see what works, or it comes all at once. And those are the only two ways it's ever been. And I watched Daryl Scott, who produced my last record, do this, where he tried one thing and he would say no, and he would go away and stare at this huge grouping of instruments and kind of cross his arms and mutter to himself for a second and then pick another one. And he always picked the right one the second time. And I kind of feel like it's a mixture of gut feeling and trial and error that usually goes pretty fast. Yeah.
It's interesting to be a modern day troubadour, and I say that to you because you are all the things a troubadour is. And it's a grand tradition, and I thank you for carrying it on.
It's a pleasure. There were, a lot of people full of it before me. Yeah, I like being a part of it too. It means that there's a lot of good listening left to do and a lot of lessons to learn and a lot of good mistakes to make.
So when you're in the songwriting process, is it driven sometimes by seeing an injustice or something that you're feeling, that you're watching? Does it come to you any number of ways?
Always, all the time. I got, even in this silly suit jacket, I have a little notebook, but just because I've just been doing that since I was maybe 16. And at a certain point, it just becomes sort of the fabric of your reality. It's like if you go golfing with a novelist, you better be worried about what you say, right? Don't say anything catchy or it might end up somewhere. So, I find that I'm a better writer when I'm more of a listener and a reader. And when I am at my ease entirely, I found, you ever take melatonin to go to sleep? I'm not as into drugs as I once was, but I've found that once I take a melatonin to go to bed at night, that has been like, whoa, I really feel like writing something. And then, of course, I'm not going to sleep. But just like any little bit of relaxation or even sleepiness, dreaminess has been helping me write a lot recently.
That's a really cool thing. I have to say, there's a lot of stuff that you do that is really intentional. At least it feels that way to me. And one of the things that I absolutely love is the way that you have positioned your merch in the wild. It's so great. You want to talk about that?
Oh, well, what do you mean in the wild?
Well, you get people to take pictures of themselves wearing things.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's such a great initiative. And like I say, it's, it's so much of a persona thing I feel from you. But at the same time, it gets the job done.
Yeah, on some level, you can be a beer salesman and a T-shirt salesman, or you can start taking, sometimes if you want to do 30 degrees of Halliburton, 10 degrees of Halliburton at a major music festival, you will get to Halliburton before 10, right? And I've found that $10, $20 at the door, and then something that makes somebody feel like they look cool has been like a way that I can grow in this industry that feels good to me. And when I design merch, I tend to do it with tattoo artists, asking illustrators that are putting intimate things on people's bodies that can draw a huge number of things but aren't like illustrators per se, you know what I mean? They're not like designing a T-shirt for the Orlando area police department softball team or something like that. They're instead doing a dragon with flames coming out of its butt and, a monkey in a top hat or something, right? So I guess we're proud of it, so I find it fun. And I also have come to really enjoy like talking to visual artists, especially ones that are like, I kind of feel like tattoo artists are a little bit, and folk singers are pretty much the same thing in a lot of ways. Like
the Critterland animal.
Yeah, yeah.
Gnarly.
It's nice to have a mascot, yeah. I think that we didn't get playlisted on Spotify literally because there was blood coming out of this possum's mouth. I hope that listeners will look up the cover.
Oh, it's really great. It's so great. And then, like I say, I love how, you've kind of reached out and had people, wear the thing and take a picture of yourself wherever it is in the world that you might be. And that's kind of part of really what I feel from you is you're out there living it and, going from town to town or forest to town and, experiencing it all. So it kind of really replicates what I feel like kind of might be a lifestyle for you.
Yeah, when at its best, yeah. I sometimes think that my greatest good would probably just be to call square dances and to stop playing my own songs. But it's nice to invite people in as much as they're willing to go, and to try to make even the concerts a really participatory experience. We do like a lot of sing-alongs and joke-alongs. I'm working on some. I would really like to make kind of a public theater where people are invited on stage to do things with us at some point too. I've been kind of working on that element of audience participation, which terrifies some people but delights others.
I would love to see some square dancing.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
We don't do the big skirt kind or anything like that. We don't do we do the really easy kind that children could do. Children or drunk people can be good at it.
What are you going to play for us first?
First I'll do this title track to this new record coming out in June. This is Winged Victory.
The arrangements. Willi Carlisle, our guest here at WMOT Roots Radio at the 30A Songwriters Festival. Whoa, what a song.
Thanks.
Whoa. Where did that come from? Life.
Geez, yeah. I almost lost my dad a couple years ago, and I started writing dead dad songs over and over again. And he's not he was a good dad. He is a good dad. He's not dead. He pulled through, so I had to play that song for him, which was awkward. But, to tell him, like, you're not the star of this, but you are maybe a featured extra in it. And he said that he thinks everybody feels that way about their parent. And I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, there's about 10 bad versions of that one before I got to the one I really liked.
When do you know when a song is done?
Usually if I need to sleep. I usually just hit the wall with it and done for a while, and then, yeah. And I think that's why I can do really long ones sometimes. I just get on a manic kick with it. But that one came out all in one piece in one night, but it took me all night.
Wow.
Oh, I like it when it works that way, just because a night is a nice container for a thing,
Do you see Dawn a lot?
Oh, every time I get the chance, yeah. I definitely don't want to see it from the front end. I want to see it on the back end.
You're here.
Yeah, especially out here with the ocean. I'm like, can I see the dawn? Can I see the ocean in the morning light, please? And I'm thinking I'm going to have to stay up all night tonight just to get to see it.
Where do you go next?
On our way to Australia, coming up soon. Yeah.
It's so exciting.
I'm nervous but excited. Yeah.
It's a long flight with a lot of instruments.
Right. Yeah. It'll be. I'm kind of grateful to see what I can do on a 17, 18-hour flight. If I can entertain myself, then that's a good sign.
Sleep some, please.
Yeah, I'm sure. I want to see the dawn coming up
over a new day.
Yeah. We're doing these kind of amphitheater shows with Tyler Childers, and I am new to this sort of format. I really like intimate audiences. I think it's because mostly what I've had, and the scale of those shows is huge and almost as big of a. The analog that for some reason sticks in my mind is just the size of medieval Paris crammed inside of one area. So every time I'm thinking about like some anecdote in history, it's like this is would have been a major city just a few hundred years ago, and it's all right here listening to all one song. It's unimaginable.
It's really great.
I hope it is.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. I mean, seriously, I love being able to play music for an audience that is thirsty for it. And Tyler's audiences are thirsty. That's why they love him. And, if he introduces you to them, I just can't imagine that it won't be amazing. It'll be amazing. It
is odd. They do this whole gorgeous light show. The thing that earns it to me scale-wise, right, is the projection technology, which is extraordinary. Is something that being an analog person in a digital world on some level playing folk music, that they can do this incredible stuff with projections, LEDs, and light shows. They're pretty much putting on an excellent 4th of July celebration every night. And at the 9 semi-trucks that it takes to deliver all that stuff and do all of it, it does beg the question to me, like, I guess what is this big hunger that people have? And is this an efficient, I want to ask myself how efficient of a delivery device for the human spirit is a stage of that size? I ask that question for myself, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know yet, and which is good because I'm not selling out those places anyway. So in the meantime, here we are, happy to be at 38.
You can ponder.
Right, ponder all we want.
Well, the other thing, too, is, like when Pro Tools started to be used, and Buddy Miller was beta testing Pro Tools, I always thought to myself, this is like so weird. Here's this really rootsy, honest music being, multi-tracked on a, Pro Tools digital platform, and how incongruous that felt to me. But at the end of the day, so it is, and not everybody does 2-inch tape anymore. So
right, I keep thinking about the medium being the message on some level, and trying to choose our mediums wisely as we, face things like TikTok bans and vastly changing social media landscapes. Where there's going to be a little space to make the mediums work for us on whatever, on our own terms, ideally, so that people that need that can get it.
Well, we're happy to do our part to get it out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so happy that you came to hang out with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for being on the radio.
Oh, thank you for being here at the 30A Songwriters Festival. For WMOT Roots Radio, Willi Carlisle, Jessie Scott.